So, I mean, first day of cabins being able to be booked, and there's not a single day that is
Not
actually
Sold out.
unavailable at the end of the day.
I don't think they
Like,
sold. Yeah, they didn't sell enough points.
Did they sell any points? So
They sold some.
I've been stalking the comptroller site for the past week, just waiting to see like when will the first deed be recorded, and
So we can see what it looks like.
I've not seen to see what it looks like.
So when did they go on sale?
Nothing.
Something would have been recorded. Maybe it takes a little bit longer to record.
There's
them.
like a couple for Riviera that are starting to trickle in for early February, but like there's nothing for the cabin.
Oh, and what happened with the trust? Was it not a big deal?
We'll have to look at the deeds when
that's the reason I'm looking at it is like I'm wondering. But Panda, what are the dates you're looking at for the cabins?
I just put in September. I'll go any dates in September because they were so cheap. 15 points for a night.
I know, right? It's like studios.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you could fit people. I know it's a whole different animal, but still.
It's just a weird feeling of like a new DVC resort opening. Like it's not the normal like, ooh, exciting. It's like
because it's not a normal resort.
Like they're not. It's not all going to be done at once. It's not going to be like, yay, it's open. Everyone come.
Yeah.
You need a car or you need a golf cart, or you're not getting up and having. Well, I guess you can make coffee in the room.
When can we actually book us non-owners? Is it March?
March something.
Yeah, I write blogs about
the
it.
article. Yeah,
DVCfan.com. I write blogs about it.
I don't read the own blogs that I actually write. So I mean,
there's just too much to remember.
Neither do we.
That's hard. So it's a lot.
Here, I'll look. I'm gonna look and tell you real quick.
Amy's gonna look and tell us real quick because she's responsible.
It's going to be in the most recent one. Bookings now open.
Yeah, I wrote that this morning and I don't remember what
March.
We 12. Still the other thing I'm still a little jaded about is we have a cash cabin booked. We've already booked a cash cabin for July 1st, but cash cabin sales for the cabins start in April or something like that.
Okay, wait. If you added on points at the cabins, it started today. February 27th is when DVC sales for the cabin will go to the general public. Okay, that doesn't affect booking. March 12th, new DVC members whose home resort is the cabins, can start booking. So those people who are buying as new members can't book until the 12th, and that's probably because it doesn't. Yeah, but
and then we get into
so March 12th.
That's for new members who bought the cabins.
New members.
March 19th is when you can book Panda. March 19th, all DVC owners can make. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's cash reservations. I lied. Holy crap. Okay. March 19th is for cash reservations for DVC owners. By the way, we have a cash reservation right now for it, which is probably like an old cabin. So if we call and switch and pay more money on this date, and we get an old cabin, I'm going to lose my mind.
Flip out.
March 20th, annual pass holders can book via the phone. That's cash. March 21st, all guests can book via the phone. That is cash. April 23rd, all DVC members can book either online or by calling member services. I imagine that means with points on April 23rd.
Yes, that is the
we have to wait till
date.
April?
And so we have to wait till April. April 23rd.
That is a long time, and there's a lot of cash. They'll sell it out cash. I think before then.
It'll be so at least opening weekend will be, but
because it's only like one loop.
So who knows? That's the cabins, and it's gonna be good times.
So what date? Because I started walking it today. Was that right?
Yeah. When's my good to go date?
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the DVC Show. I'm your host, Paul Krieger, and I'm joined this week by...
I didn't know you were starting already.
Amy Krieger, my wife, is here with us this week. We've got John Sakari, aka Big Fat Panda, in the house.
Welcome home.
We've got Derek DeBoer, Senior Sales Associate for the DVC Resale Market.
Hey now.
And Jeff, you pointed out that you did not... rather than calling you Finger Guns DVC Jeff, you pointed out in a recent thing that you don't have a title. Like you don't have a name.
Have a title.
So, I mean, do you want a title? Or do you want?
Not from you guys. I absolutely do not.
We asked this question before.
We did pose this to the public before, and the results were quite interesting. So go back to a previous show and read the comments if you're interested in any of those. But yeah, happy to have you guys here this week, and had a fun little kind of cabin conversation to start things off because that's kind of top of mind for everyone at the moment. But this week's show, we are actually looking at some common phrases that might not be so common if you're a newer DVC member. Panda, this was something that you came up with.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everything that you're going to talk about, I got from Amy. Like, I've called Amy and been like, what's this mean? What's this mean? So I just figured, let's give the love to everyone without calling Amy all day.
Everyone call Amy all day. She loves being on the phone.
Oh, I don't. I'm a horrible phone talk.
What's great is that most of our phone conversations, when we actually talk to, it's like, hi, this is DVC Rental Store. Paul speaking. Paul Krieger? Yes. Yep. I'm the only one that I know of. Yep. So we love hearing from people though. And actually this group was talking just before this. It's amazing how much positive feedback you guys have shared with us over the past few months for this show, for all of the content we've been doing on DVC Fans. So thank you. We love you all for all of your love and support. Speaking of support, before we go any further, this show would not be possible without the love and support of the world of DVC. So that was the timing was perfect that time. DVC resale market. If you're looking to buy or sell a Disney Vacation Club contract, head over there. Monera Financial, where you can actually finance that DVC resale contract purchase. And the DVC rental store, where you can try before you buy, rent some DVC points, or if you have extra points this year, you can rent out your own points and make some cash. Jeff, I love that you point during that because it saves me from actually putting the overlays on these videos because it's better to watch you randomly point at people. So.
No, it's okay. You can still put an overlay for me if you want, Paul. That's totally
right over his face.
Right over his face.
It could only improve things.
Oh, burn.
Oh, I just came up with 34 nicknames for you, Jeff. I'll text them to you later.
So yeah, we've been sitting here just kind of going through some common phrases that are kind of pretty regularly talked about in the DVC space. Amy has a nice little cheat sheet here, but I'm going to go to Panda because he brought up one, and I know it's going to be the most controversial. So I want us to just rip the Band-Aid and kick off the show just with this one. Let's go there, Panda. What is it?
Yeah, my thing was, what are people talking about when they say they're walking the reservation? And I kind of got it, I think.
Maybe.
I got to go. My phone's ringing. Bye.
I was gonna say, the pitchforks and torches are about to be unleashed. So
I mean, listen, like we know it's controversial, but if they wanted to stop it, they really could.
Okay, yeah. So before we do get into what it is, and we're not going to give you a tutorial on it. It is a very controversial topic in the DVC community, and we understand. Like, there's two sides to it, and I can understand both sides. But I just want to put this out there into the world that when we were talking with Rob Lindsay, who has been a DVC member for I don't even know how long, for a very long time. He's like one of the early old Key West members. He told us that basically DVC themselves pretty much like invented walking, because back then you couldn't book until the day of checkout. So instead of it's you starting the day of your reservation, it had to be the day of checkout. And members would be worried and, well, what do I do if someone's got a shorter stay and I need a longer stay, and that's not fair. And so DVC member services would tell members, why don't you just start early and then you can just move it until you get the reservation to where you need it to be and, modify it. Back then you had to call to modify. So obviously they knew people were doing it because people were calling and modifying it. And that was the advice that Disney Vacation Club themselves gave to members. So they actually created the concept of walking a reservation.
So the next time you get angry about this topic, don't angry message us. Don't angry message anyone that taught people walking
or member services because it's not their fault. They're not even the same people. Probably.
Yeah, they're wonderful cast members. Please don't yell at them.
But they still can't fix their IT problems, but they came up with walking. So
do you want me to do it?
No, that's all I'm going to say about the topic.
That's
yeah, they can come after you later.
Oh, so I have to do it. Okay.
Jeff's going to explain it.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
No, the people have just started to like Jeff. We want to keep him around. So
it was hard going to get him to warm up to you.
That's your new title. It's Jeff Haslam, Walking Point DVC Expert. That's what we're that title.
I gotta go.
So walking a DVC reservation, we again are not going to go into the weeds too far about what this means, but in its most simplest form, think about this. You are looking to book the holiday season of next year, and you know when the 11-month window of that is. So you get on at the 11-month window, and somehow that room is already fully booked. It's gone. It was never available. Actually, you checked the day before, and most of it was already gone. And you're like, how is that even possible? What walking reservation essentially means is that you back up a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Some people back up months in advance of that reservation that they are looking to create, and they book a week or however many days they're looking for. And then they start moving that reservation forward from that point in time. Because what you know at that point in time is that you have captured the 11-month window, and there is nothing that can occur to let you lose that window unless you mess up walking the reservation. So you have jumped the 11-month window process.
On that note, if it's not your home resort, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because there are things that can occur because members who own that resort can stop you in your tracks by booking ahead of you because they have a larger advantage there. But also we have seen DVC themselves take inventory out, maybe for a refurb, maybe for we don't know what, but we have seen that happen to where they have pulled ahead of the 11-month window. And so, you could put all that work in and have that happen. So, it is what it is. It is a controversial topic, but it is asked constantly. And our job is to educate you on what is going on in the world of DVC. So we wanted to let you know, and by world I mean the world, not our company.
Don't do the thing, guys. Don't do the thing.
I mean, the community, the everybody. Anyway,
But we addressed this previously on the one Siri Bike Q&A where we didn't lose our lives, where Jeff wasn't driving, and I said this at that time, and I still stand by this. If you're not taking advantage of every rule that Disney Vacation Club is giving you related to your membership, then you are behind the 8 ball. Then you are leaving money on the table, so to say, because these rules are allowed, or if they weren't, they would put a stop to them. And so if you're not, I'm not trying to encourage walking, but I'm saying that being angry at people that do walk reservations, again, as Amy said earlier, this is
right.
It's not. Mm-hmm. Don't be angry at the people. DVC caused this. This is their rule. Any thoughts from you guys on walking, or you guys just want to run away?
I just will echo that. It's not just this rule, but all the other rules. Moonlight Magic, for example. You want a room? You want to go to Moonlight Magic? Book a room on your points. Don't wait for that general open to the public round, because you're not going to get in. Most people don't. If you want a shot, book a room. Use your points. That's what they're there for. That's what Moonlight Magic is there for. It's for people using their points to go to Disney World. So I don't know. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so I got a list now that we're past that one. And it was actually Panda's job to come up with a list, but...
Panda never does his homework.
Yes, I do. With Jeff's help, I do it all the time.
He was too busy getting a pretty haircut and shave. Looks so handsome.
I don't. You can't make that comment. You got a haircut a half hour ago.
I did too. That was my segue into complimenting me now. So thanks.
Before we get into things, can I ask about your shirt, Derek? It is the
common question of the day.
It looks like an orange bird, but it's not.
Or 50s prime time.
That's what I was thinking too. 50s primetime diner is what it reminds me of.
That is exactly.
It looks like a TV.
That's exactly how this came about, because I was talking with a great member and fan of the show from the UK who bought some points from me last week, and we were talking on the phone, and I was talking about, oh God, I still have to pick out my shirts for the show because we're going to be taping on Thursday. And his response was, gosh, I can't even imagine your closet must be massive. And I literally started laughing because I was like, I literally have like 10 shirts and I've worn all of them. So I'm out of Disney shirts, but I found this one, and that's exactly what I was thinking of. It's not a Disney shirt, but it's got a primetime cafe. It's got maybe a pop century feel to it. So thank you for noticing. Thank you.
And just know, this whole changing of the shirts is a self-imposed thing on Derek. You could wear the same shirt for all 3 shows like me and Jeff, but no.
Like the rest of us, yeah.
We don't change our clothes either.
I might start that today.
I'm going to start. Yeah, I know, me too. I'm going to start changing.
Don't hate the play. I hate the game. That's all I
do want to back up a second, because did Derek's accent come off more Australian to most of you?
It was like this Australian Indian kind of a thing going on. I don't know.
I thought maybe the UK guy spoke like that and he adopted it.
I'm going to see him when he comes down in May. So we're having a drink at the Poly, and I will run.
Are we invited?
And see if he likes it. Yeah, of
Are
course
we invited? Okay, perfect. Yeah. Hey, speaking of, since this show is going to be one of the more recent ones going up, Derek, you wanted to mention, and I did think it is a good idea. We all, I think, are going to be in an upcoming Moonlight Magic, I believe. Jeff probably knows those dates more than anyone.
I think it's the 27th?
27th.
Where are we at? Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom, yes, because we were joking about gorillas earlier. So,
yes.
You'll have to get on patreon.com/DVC fan to get that part. But yeah, no, this whole team, hopefully, Amy and I kind of have some stuff going on with her family right now, so we may or may not be there. But the rest of this team is going to be at that Moonlight Magic on February 27th. So make sure you keep a lookout for a crazy shirt and an Australian accent.
And we apologize for those Australian.
And it's a momentous night because it's actually the first time Derek's ever been into a theme park. So
this will, however, be my very first Moonlight Magic ever. So I couldn't imagine going with a better group of people. So yeah,
are you serious?
Yeah, Derek doesn't go after like 8 p.m.
Yeah. I'm in bed by 9:30. So these events, this is a monumental deal. So if you see me, I might be in some sort of a stroller being pushed around with a nappy blanket, but yes, I'll be very excited to be there.
And he'll be doing a live DVC resale contract auction on Kilimanjaro Safari around 10:30 p.m.
Yes.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
We're going to lower Jeff into the gorilla tank with a rope, and we're going to see what the reaction is from the gorillas when Jeff offers them a banana. I think that's really fun.
You guys realize none of us are going to get into this event now, right? Like, they're going to stop us at the gate and go, I'm sorry.
I'm actually considering just not going at this point.
He's like, Jeff's like, I'd like to keep my annual pass. Thank you. All right, back on topic. Amy's got this list of commonly...
These are just like newcomer, like things that people are like, well, what does that stand for? Or what does that mean? Or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So there are no real order. Just kind of slopped them down as we were talking about them. So I'm just going to start at the beginning and pick one and we'll go from there. So one thing or one initials or abbreviation that always comes up in the groups is ROFR, which we actually call ROFR. We kind of sound it out, at least at Monero we do. But that obviously that gets asked about a lot. What does that mean? What are you guys talking about? So Derek?
Yeah. Derek? So normally this is where we would cue Panda and have the ROFR puppet be able to come into play to make this much more animated. So he's probably frantically searching for it. But yes, ROFR stands for right of first refusal is what that stands for. And like Paul said, we tend to just say the words ROFR, ROFR. What that means is anytime a contract is purchased through the secondary market, through the DVC resale market, for example, Disney has a certain amount of time, usually takes less than 30 days for them to basically review the details of that particular contract and decide, hey, do I want to buy that contract back?
DVC!
You look very hungry. Haven't been eating a lot lately, so yes. Thank you for that.
Gotten a lot thinner recently. Wow.
As a visual we now have a ROFR visual.
ROFR visual. But yeah, that's all that means is that's Disney's process for them to review a contract and decide, do they want to buy that back at the exact same price that it was basically purchased for? So if you're someone that maybe a couple of years ago when ROFR was pretty active, they would buy that contract back. I'd have to call them and say, hey, sorry, they bought it back. So that buyer would simply either ask for a full refund, or they'd say, hey, you know what? I saw another one that might work. Let's roll the dice and try it again. So for a seller, it doesn't matter when it comes to ROFR, just because it's a win-win for them, because it's sold either to Disney or it's sold to that buyer at the price that they've already went ahead and agreed to sell it for. But like we mentioned, it's not very active this year. So this is definitely a great time, because I get people asking me every single day, God, this is a great contract. I love it. I'm super excited. But do you really think I'm going to get it? Because I have a feeling like Disney might buy it back. So Paul and Amy know, and everybody knows, we published that report. And lately it's just been literally nothing. So it's the perfect storm of getting great deals and not losing an inch or an eye of sleep or a wink of sleep. I'm not sure what the actual phrase is, but that's it.
Yeah, it has been such a roller coaster of creativity for me in writing that blog for DVC Resale Market, because it's like, what do I say about nothing? I even stooped to the level of writing a poem I wrote like a narrative poem one month just because I had nothing to say.
But if you ever want to look at that data and see that blog, it is on dvcfan.com. If you go to the search bar and you just type in ROFR, you'll see like the archives from all those options to look at.
Wasn't there 1 month where it was just one Grand Floridian contract got bought back? Nothing else?
That was this past month. Yeah.
That's it.
That's just fun. Imagine being that one person. Everybody else got lucky except you.
And I made those jokes last year because the same thing happened, so I ran out of them. Like I was like, one is the loneliest number. Like I didn't know what else to do. Like,
well, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know a lot of people, and obviously they hate to get a contract gobbled up by that, but Disney's the only timeshare that does this, right? And that's what kind of keeps the bottom from falling out of the market. That's why. We still have touche, until this year. But that's kind of why prices never really plummet, because there's kind of this safety net that if it gets too low, Disney's going to grab it.
And in the case of that one Grand Floridian contract, it was priced very low.
Yeah.
So they took it. And back when prices were creeping up really high, that was we were getting a lot of ROFR. We had those people that had Bay Lake Tower that tried 8 times to get it, and Disney kept taking it. So, but yeah, if you're ever worried about it, take a look at that blog by Paul. It's got all the data you need for the past year, right?
It does.
Of ROFR.
And you can search every month from, I don't know. I've been doing it at least for 2 years, and I know Nick Cotton, our CEO at World of DVC, did it for years before that. So we have a lot of historical data. Another cool thing that we recently just added to that report, Derek, I don't know if you caught this month, but I actually put in the average. So we're kind of tracking the average time that a contract takes to get through that process right now as well. Again, I was searching for new things to liven up the report, but that's kind of a crucial thing that a lot of people look for, because it kind of gives them an idea of what that time frame on that closing process looks like. Because historically, ROFR, they could take up to 30 days, I think it is, Derek. Or that process to complete. But we've seen that kind of slip down as they've been waiving and waiving contracts. So,
they can technically take longer than that, I think. I think they can take up to like closing. But yeah, lately, I think the averages have been in the 21 days.
Yep.
The last couple of weeks.
What's next on the list?
So let's go over to another word that we hear a lot. It's actually kind of a outdated term, but we still use it. It's kind of like those people that still call Disney Springs Downtown Disney and all that, but is the term blue card. And blue card is basically...
I wish I still had mine.
Oh, I do. I have mine. Do you want me to go get it?
I have mine too.
Okay, you go get it.
I'm going to go find it. You can explain it.
I'll explain it.
I keep it in my wallet. It's a keepsake.
We'll let Jeff explain it. Jeff, what's a blue card?
Blue card is basically, it's what they used to issue you as a direct member that you'd have to show to get your DVC discounts or any kind of thing that required your DVC membership, had your number on it, expiration date, you got a new one every year, or you used to get them every year, and then they started to just kind of slowly phase that out. Now it's digital. Now there is no such thing as a blue card. It's in your wallet app or whatever you use. Now it just says, what is it? DVC-Y for yes.
Yep, you got it. DVC-Y for yes.
And so now it's not as fun as having the flashy card, but
yeah, you felt
it was direct member benefits.
You kind of felt special when it was like you walked, do you have your card? And then Amy would whip out.
So I'm going to cover up my membership number, but this was the blue card, and everyone's expired on the exact same day. Everyone's expired on December 31st, 2021, and they didn't give us new ones after that. They went to the electronic version, but this is what people mean when they say blue card. You have to be a blue card member and to book Moonlight Magic to.
And if you were a resale member, I believe it was, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, a white card, correct?
Correct. And it was something that you could print out online. Sorry, I was trying to see if I could find my blue card because I've had mine forever and ever. My wife has it, so I didn't have it. But I was able to find 2 arcade cards that I think are good for probably $300. So the next time I'm at Disney, I could use the arcade cards that I have.
If you find Derek at the Animal Kingdom Moonlight Magic, he'll give you a $300 arcade card.
I'll be an arcade card, yeah.
$300 at a Disney arcade's worth about what, 1.5 games?
I think it's 1.5 game of Guitar Hero. That's it. That's all you get.
Okay, we've got home resort booking window versus 7-month window.
Yep. This is a confusing one for a lot of people when it comes to, when you can book. And it also is confusing, I think, for a lot of people as to what points they have available to book. So your home resort booking window is, that window that is 7 to 11 months. So 7 to 11 months from today, I think is the 7-month window is currently, we are recording this show on the 15th of February. It will go up on the 19th of February. So if we're saying as of the date of this show, the 19th of February, the 7-month window is currently at, I believe, September 19th. Yeah, September 18th.
Give or take a day, yeah.
Give or take a day. I'm already forgetting the dates that I said. And what that essentially means is that 7-month milestone is very important for DVC members because prior to that, so anything in the 0 to 7 months. So if I wanted to book something for next week, most Disney Vacation Club members that purchased back in the day and have an older contract, or most direct owners, or all direct owners essentially, are able to use their points at any Disney Vacation Club property in that 0 to 7 month window. So the points are very flexible within that window. Within the 7 to 11 month window, so beyond that September date, those points, your points are essentially only valid at your home resort. So that's that home resort priority. So you essentially are, we always say it, buy where you want to stay. And we say that for a reason, because within that 7 to 11 month window, that's when you can more or less guarantee yourself. I say more or less because, there are certain periods where it's harder to book, but more or less you can guarantee that you're going to get that reservation that you want within that home resort booking window. So if, Amy and I, we're owners at Animal Kingdom Lodge. So our points, within that 7 to 11 month window, we can book at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And then once our points move within that 0 to 7 month window, we can then book within that time frame. And this date is just arbitrary and it changes every day. So every day it moves out another day. And so, and Derek, you can probably speak to this a little bit. Obviously, there are some resale restrictions, and we do have some blogs on DVC Fan and on the DVC resale market that kind of outline that, because there's been changes to those rules related to those 0 to 7 months over the years.
Yeah. So it's always, I like to use the phrase too, when it comes to buying a home resort, that it's your security blanket, right? So you're able to book it. So if you do have a favorite, and I think probably the hardest ones to get into truly overall, if you don't own there, are probably Boardwalk, obviously Beach Club. Sometimes it could be the Grand Floridian. Those are probably the 3 hardest. So if you do have a favorite resort, no matter what it is, maybe it's Animal Kingdom because I want to secure one of those value rooms, or I want to get one of the concierge rooms, book it, right? If you know when you're going to go, book your home resort, whatever it is that you're going to buy, if that's your favorite. Then, like Paul said, at 7 months or less, you happen to go online, the website, like you do every day, and you look and go, oh, look, honey, the Polynesian's available. Should we cancel the one that we had at the boardwalk and this time stay at the Poly? You can do that, because that's why you have those 4 extra months is your security blanket. A lot of people will say, you know what, we really don't plan that far out. It really doesn't matter. So honestly, if you're within that, you know, we plan 7, 6, 5 months out, then it doesn't make sense to buy, you know, an expensive resort, right? If you're not going to use that 4 extra months to be able to book it. So that's where some resorts, like for example, people looking for sleeper on points, as we like to say, Saratoga is always a great bet. You know, it's got a great price, tons of selection. It's got great dues on it, and anywhere that happens to be available, with exceptions, of course, because now if you do purchase a contract on the resale market, it can always be used for the 14 original Disney Vacation Club resorts. Yes, that does include Aulani. Yes, that includes Hilton Head. Yes, that includes Vero. Yes, that does include the new Polynesian Tower. It does not include Riviera. It does not include the new Disneyland DVC that's out there, and it does not include the cabin. So always look at it. When I buy resale now, I can use it for the 14 original DVC resorts. You're still going to book using the same member website like everybody else. You don't have to use like some bootleg offshoot website trying to sneak in through the, you're using the official Disney Vacation Club website, the official phone number to call. So yeah, that's what that means.
We actually just had this conversation a little bit earlier with Panda about Panda, you were looking at the cabins, at trying to get those. And it was like everyone else.
It looked like it was going to let me book it. I was like, for September?
Yeah, it was like exciting.
It was very exciting.
Yeah, but
until it told me I couldn't.
Until it's like, you didn't say the magic word.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Panda said, "Don't you know who I am? That's book a cabin."
And then they took all my points away.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of
it's just very quickly to touch on Derek. I own at the Riviera, but honestly, Derek's right. I didn't need to, because I don't book anything but like 5 months in advance, and because I'm local and flexible, it's a lot easier for me to just get whatever I want as long as I, look at the calendar and say, okay, I can go this date. So yeah, I've never used my 11-month window.
Oh.
I never have either.
Really?
Wow.
No, even when I lived in Utah, we didn't, because we don't plan that far in advance, honestly. Like, I don't know. I might take a trip next week. You don't know. Like, sometimes people talk me on a cruise to Bermuda sometimes. And that's just what we do.
Do you find, Jeff, it's because you're a local? Like, if you were in Utah, you still didn't?
Still didn't. No. No. The furthest I ever booked out when I lived in Utah was 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And now there's trade-offs to that, because I did a lot of split stays early on because I couldn't get a whole week,
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you definitely want to keep in mind. But I like split stays. I like to split things up, and that's how I've been able to stay at almost all the resorts in such a short period of time. So
I'm glad you said that word. Will you explain what a split stay is?
Yeah, that's another one.
Sure. It's one of my personally favorite things to do. So let's say we're coming to Disney World for a week, but I don't want to stay a week at Saratoga Springs. So you do 3 days at one resort, then move to the next resort for a couple, 3 days, and so on. So it's just splitting up your stays between multiple resorts. The nice thing is Disney will move your luggage between resorts, so you can drop it off at Bell Services in the morning, go to the park or whatever you're going to do that day, go back to your new resort. Your luggage will be waiting there for you, but they make it really easy. A lot of people don't like it. They like to unpack and just kind of be there, but I wanted to stay at all the places. So a split stay was really fun for me.
And I'll add another word into split stay as well, which is stalking a reservation, which is one that I don't think made the list today.
Oh, I know. I didn't think of that.
That is very important when it comes to split stays sometimes, because you are into that 0 to 7 month window. So stalking a reservation is literally waking up at the crack of dawn and checking each and every day for that potential reservation. Disney Vacation Club does allow you to waitlist things, but we've seen people get a reservation before it's been pulled for a wait list. So those things do happen, and that's where stalking pays off. Our good friend Mandy, who works at the World of DVC, she actually stalked a beach club stay for her and her family. She got
exactly what she wanted.
And she had asked us about it like even beforehand, and we were like, I don't know, it's beach club. I don't like that's gonna be a tough one to stalk and kind of put together. And if you're persistent, and
she did it. Yeah.
She did it.
Yeah.
So, and
it does work. It does work. We do it all the time because we will literally look at dates, because being close is we'll say, okay, in 3 months from now, let's see what's available at every single Disney Vacation Club resort, say for the month of May. Right. So we'll literally throw it in from the 1st all the way through the 31st. And the website is great. So when it's working, it's really, really great, just because it brings up and shows you what's available, which resorts, which nights. But many, many, many times they'll be like, oh, man, I wanted to stay at Copper Creek this May. Well, my wife keeps checking it, and she literally will check it almost every day. And then she'll tell me and say, great news. Hey, for that trip in May, we were able to snag 2 nights at Copper versus 2 nights at Old Key West or something. So you're right. Persistence, or as you like to call it, stalking, can sometimes pay off.
Yeah.
I've been stalking like crazy because we've got some friends coming into town first week of April. Listen, I know what I said as soon as I said it. Okay. I've been stalking a reservation like crazy because we got some friends coming into town, and it's my sole goal to get him into DVC before he leaves that week. He's just so against anything. He doesn't understand, but they come to Disney once a year. Like, they're leaving money on the table. And so I originally had something booked at Old Key West, but I'm like, I got to impress him. Like, I got to do something a little bit better.
Take him to like lunch or like a bar somewhere, and have Derek at the table behind you. Oh, hello there. Did you
take him to Bar Riva?
Right. Well, I ended up getting a 2-bedroom at Boulder Ridge for when they're here. So
that's great.
So
that's awesome.
That's the only one I haven't stayed at. So cross that off the list too.
So back to your split stay. That's what we originally did when we first joined DVC. We did a lot of split stays because we wanted to try all the resorts. And so it was a great way, if you're flexible and if you can get over the fact that, you have to move resorts, or we lived out of our suitcases, so we didn't really unpack everything.
Yeah, if you don't allow it to screw up that travel day, it's great. Like, you have to be able to go into a park, leave them with the luggage, like Jeff said. If you want to wait all day until 4:00 because your room may not be ready till then, that's where it kills it. Yeah.
So if you transfer during like days where you're going to be in the park all day, then it's easy, and then you get a change of scenery. You can manage your trip kind of neatly if you do split stays. You can stay at Bay Lake the days you're going to be at Magic Kingdom, so you can just walk there. You can stay at Boardwalk when you're going to be at Epcot Hollywood Studios, so you can just walk back. So you can do things like that. And that's how we have officially, as of a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, when we finally stayed at Hilton Head, we have stayed at every single DVC resort
until July 1st.
Until the cabins open.
But if you want to go back in DVC fan history, there's a blog series you can search for called The 6 Resort Split Stay. We actually put that together when we were emerging from the pandemic. So like right at the reopening, it was so easy to just snag whatever you wanted. And that's when we really checked a lot of these resorts off of our list. So I think within a 9-day trip down here, we stayed at 12. Was it 12 days?
Yeah. It was
12. We were really Disney desperate at that point.
We
needed 12 days.
I had a split stay once where, except for the last 2 nights, I was at a different resort every night. That I don't recommend. That was a little too much.
I recommend at least 2 nights at each resort, 2 to 3. But even if you do two resorts, the other thing about it is you get a fresh, clean room when you move to the next room. You know what I mean? So you don't get housekeeping.
And one thing too that I know that a viewer of ours, Mary, does when she comes down, because it really depends on when her flight comes down from the East Coast. So many times she will save her DVC points because, as she tells me, she's like, these points are way too valuable for me to use them at a DVC resort that I'm not going to get there till 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. So she will book a room at All Star or Pop Century, and then that way
I've done that too.
So that's a great tip too.
Yeah. Yep. We've done it too. Yeah, we did art animation and then moved to Bay Lake.
Okay, here's a dumb question that's kind of off topic. But what if you wanted the room to be available when you got there in the morning? Could you book the night before and just tell them, even though I'm not physically there to check in?
I've done that too.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I thought you had done that, Jeff.
Yeah.
Now you are spending those points and you're not getting the room for the previous day. So it depends on, if you have the points to splurge. But I've seen, like Jeff said, people do that where like, oh, we're going to get there at like 5 a.m. We really want a room. So they book it the night before.
Jeff's got so many points, he just makes it rain with points. He's like, yeah, I won't be there till like 4 p.m. But have my room ready.
All my good points. I'm ready to buy some more points, but I've been told I have to buy a house first.
Responsibilities.
No, we understand.
Put us in one of those air chambers where the points are running around.
So we've talked a lot about planning in advance and planning ahead for your trip, and all of that. But let's pivot a little bit and talk. What if plans change last minute? And so holding is a big one that I feel like a lot of people don't really understand when it comes to what is holding. And I have to have this conversation with people a lot over at DVC Rental Store because they say, I've got points in holding. I don't know what that means. So I always refer to holding as kind of like the penalty box. So let's say that you booked a trip and you had to, for one reason or another, cancel that trip last minute. What that means is you are canceling last minute and Disney Vacation Club says, I'm going to penalize you for that. So if you cancel inside of 30 days of that reservation check-in date, Disney Vacation Club basically says, I'm going to put these points in a penalty box, which is called a holding account. That does not change the expiration date of those points. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that a lot of people are confused about. So the expiration dates of those points within your holding account are the same as they were before. So like Amy and I have a February use year. Let's say we have points that go into a holding account. Those points are still going to expire on January 31st of the next year. So that does not change that in related to holding. But what does change is you canceled last minute. And so Disney Vacation Club says, I'm going to essentially penalize you and make you book last minute. And so those points can only be used for a booking inside of 60 days of today or the day that you make the reservation for that. So a lot of people end up stuck if they did have to cancel last minute. And then you're really at the mercy of limited DVC availability within that time frame. Because if you canceled that last minute, DVC most likely isn't able to fill that room, or they don't have as many options related to that room. And so
the 60-day window is a rolling window.
Yep, correct.
So if there's nothing 60 days out from today, maybe something 60 days out from tomorrow or 60 days out from the next day. So it does continue rolling as time passes until those points expire at the end of their use year.
Correct. Yeah. So it is, I think a penalty box is kind of a good way to put it. Do you guys have any other thoughts on holding, or have you guys been affected by holding ever?
I had to call Amy once and I figured it out with her. Yeah.
It's not a great place to be. If you can modify or change or do anything you can to keep those points out of that penalty box, that's good, because 60 days, we talk about how hard it is to get into some places at 7 months.
Yeah.
60 days, it's really, really tricky. That's definitely going to be a split stay or not where you want to be situation, most likely.
And I tell people,
very last minute
have a great time at Saratoga Springs. You'll have a great time at Saratoga. That's it.
Or off season Vero Beach or Hillhead. So. But I also say, we say 30 days. So you must cancel 31 days prior to check-in. I normally tell people, whenever you book a reservation, just put something on your calendar 35 days prior to that check-in date of that reservation. You've built yourself just a little bit of a gap of a buffer, and you can just have that conversation like, honey, are we sure we're good to go, right? Like this trip's a go. And obviously emergencies come up and other things like that do come up. I will say, sorry. I will say that unofficially, I have heard of Disney Vacation Club waiving these rules at least once over the course of your membership. I always say call member services, explain your situation as to why you're canceling. But I have seen, situations emerge where, these rules can be waived.
Your mileage may vary.
Mileage may vary. So
that's a good point too, because I was talking to my guide, and this was right after I first bought a couple years ago, but she was saying that they definitely input into the system. Like if they're going to give you a pass, hey, grandpa died and I got to go to the funeral, they put in the system, we did this because grandpa died. So if grandpa dies again, like if you try to use that same excuse, they literally have that written down and say, no, we're not going to help you this time.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're from Utah. You could have multiple grandfathers.
Yeah. Every time when you scan in or tap in to like get your free, DVC pin or whatever it is, like
there's a whole file.
You want to see your file and just see like things that have been written down about you. Like
it's thicker than the FBI file. Well, except on Derek, but everybody else is probably way thicker than that.
Clean as a whistle. Mine is clean as a whistle.
We got time probably for just a couple more of these. Let's touch on transfer points a little bit. Jeff, you said you've dealt with some transfer points before, and
not so much, mostly because I don't understand fully the concept. Like it's easier for me just to book the room for somebody rather than trying to get my points, because you both have to be on the phone with member services at the same time, right? And like Jupiter has to be aligned with Saturn, and then the points can get moved back and forth.
Yeah, and then they disappear and you have no idea that they're there. So transfer points. So great example is we have booked some rooms with our good friends Jeff and Dan, who do Run Disney races with us. And last year we said, hey, rather than staying in studios separately, let's stay in a 2-bedroom at Saratoga for marathon weekend. And so what we ended up doing is Jeff and Dan booked that room, and we transferred them points from one of our contracts to compensate them for the difference in points.
Wow.
So when you transfer points, those points retain all of the current status. So I think we
gave them Grand Floridian points, and they are not Grand Floridian owners, so they were able to use those at the home resort window for Grand Floridian. Yeah.
And to accomplish this, you do have to get on the phone with DVC Member Services. You've got to have all parties present at the time of that phone call so that everyone can kind of validate their membership and kind of say, yes, I approve of the transfer. And the weird part of transfers is I feel like a new rule is created every other week when it comes to actually accomplishing them. So we've had all kinds of issues. Derek laughs because I know I've worked with him on some transfers before for various reasons. It seems like there's a new rule. And the weirdest part of it all is that once it's all said and done, the points, like this person can call DVC Member Services and verify that the points have been transferred, but they kind of disappear for the most part from every other status in the system.
There are places you can see them,
but it's so
weird. Yeah. And the technology doesn't always work right. For example, we had a Copper Creek transfer several years ago during the pandemic, and should be able to use those at Copper Creek at the 11-month window. It actually didn't work for us at the 11-month window, so we had to wait till 9 a.m. to call. And of course, if you're a Copper Creek owner, you know that if you miss that first hour of booking at the 11-month window, you're pretty much out of luck. So, I just recommend that you use transfer points cautiously, because the technology doesn't always work. They're there, you'll get to use them, but they might not work online at the 11-month window like you're supposed to. You might have to call.
This is a whole new concept to me, but I can't believe it's not in the system where you could put gift 15 points to this member's number.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
From this use here. Yeah.
So,
because that would be a great way to get like you said, instead of getting 2 studios, get two bedroom.
Yeah. One of the most common questions that I have gotten over the years is whether or not you can donate points. And I wish that this opportunity existed, because we've had a lot of questions related to Give Kids the World and donating points to Give Kids the World. Now,
what a great idea. So many people lose points, and yeah.
The issue is multiple on that level. I've talked to executives over at Give Kids the World. the one big thing is all the Wish kids, all the people that stay at the village, they stay there because of the comforts of the village. And so unless there's extra family or something traveling with them that would not necessarily be able to stay at the village, there's no real reason to, use the points in that manner. But it would be so cool if it existed.
Convert them to money. They could convert them.
Exactly.
You could donate the points
That's what I've said time and time again to people is rent the points, convert it to money, donate the money.
Yeah.
The other issue with transfers is that each member gets one single transfer in or out per use year. Yep. Now, typically, if you have multiple memberships like we do, they don't usually count that against you if we're transferring points within our own memberships. But if I were to transfer points to you, Panda, that counts as your one, that counts as our one. And then for another year, neither of us can do another transfer in or out. Yeah.
Okay, there has to be a benefit to DVC when people lose points. I mean, it's baked into the thing, I'm sure,
Yeah. And
just like, gift cards that don't get used.
One thing to add about donating, just in case anybody's wondering, is an option that you can always do, which is something that I've done for years and years for my kids' elementary schools, was if they're doing a raffle, if they're doing a fundraiser, whatever it is I just simply say, hey, you get 3 nights at a deluxe Walt Disney World resort. Whoever wins that raffle gets in contact with me. I let them know, listen, here's the dates, here's what's available. Give me the names, give me the details. Whoever then won that raffle, they still check in like normal. So there's no transferring. Right. We're just making the reservation for someone else. They used it for a charity fundraiser. I've given points away for, wedding gifts. Like, hey, here's, 4 nights at a Walt Disney World resort. So yeah, you can do it. There's ways around it. So don't get too scared of thinking, oh my God, I got to transfer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do it. I'm still not transferring points to Jeff Haslam, though. Absolutely.
One other thing I want to say about transfer, just so it's known, if you are the person transferring points to someone, so if I'm transferring points to Panda, I cannot transfer him any points that I have banked or borrowed. So those aren't eligible to be transferred. Once I give my current use year points to Panda, and I think that we froze again, Paul.
Oh,
in the worst face. So thank you for keeping that on the screen for me.
Yeah, that was great.
Once I've given you those points, Panda, you are able to bank and borrow them as, within the confines of the normal rules.
Yeah. And I would also add to transfers too. Keep in mind that we've stated, transfers as friends because we're sharing a reservation. We've talked about transferring between ourselves, between our own memberships and everything. We've talked about transferring as a charitable thing, or as Derek said, making a reservation. Specifically stated within the DVC bylaws, you cannot transfer points for financial gain. So there's a lot of people out there, and I know there's some companies out there that do play around with this, but keep in mind that is against the DVC bylaws. It is not against the DVC bylaws to rent points. That's a common question that we also get all the time. Renting points is allowed, and it outlines the terms of rentals. They don't want to see a pattern of commercial rentals. So, if Derek goes out and buys 5,000 points tomorrow and all he does is rent them, then that's a pattern of commercial renting, and they'll crack down on that. But transfers are explicitly
it actually says the word expressly prohibited in the bylaws for transfers.
So you might
for money, you can do it for free, obviously.
So you might be thinking, oh, great business idea, not so much.
Possible you could do 1 a year and then you're done, so you're out of
Amy, when you got frozen, you didn't look like this.
He picked that filter, for the record.
That machine was so much fun at Hilton Head. It was
free
awesome.
too. I think that was the most fun part about it.
Oh, I thought the camera messed up. I didn't know you chose to.
No. It was one of those filters where you look like you're in a fun house and the mirror is all distorted.
It reminds me of when
that's what all the ladies say. We got you.
It reminds me of when the MacBook Pro first came out and they had the photo booth option and you had all of these weird filters you could add to pictures and things. But
that's not the real shape of my face, right? I don't think.
I think we've covered most of our frequently question terms or terms that might be new to you as a newer Disney Vacation Club member. If we've missed any on this show, please make sure you put them in the comments of this video, and most likely Amy Krieger will answer most of those questions because she's amazing about getting back to comments. But Jeff's been in there and Derek's been in there answering comments too, and Panda just asks Amy and then he'll answer.
Derek.
I do become an expert for others through Amy. They're like, wow, you know this. I'm like, yes, I do.
She's your North Star, Panda. She's your North Star.
100%.
Guys, yeah, that comment made me happy. Derek had responded on YouTube to so many comments about the Doorway to Dreams that YouTube stopped letting his comments. Did you notice that on that one video?
No.
Like they like deemed him spam and you weren't allowed to comment anymore.
I was so excited to see and hear from so many people that knew and were there that I met at Doorway to Dreams like a billion years ago. So everybody that wrote, I was like, oh my God, it's so good to hear from you. And then someone later on had a different question. And I was like, Amy, I don't want to think this person's, but my comment's not showing up. So now I know exactly why.
I know. We could not get it to show up. I have no idea.
Well, if we missed a common term or something that you're questioning related to your membership, like I said, make sure you put it in those comments and we will get to you. As always, please like this video, subscribe to our DVC Fan YouTube channel, hit the bell. I see the analytics week after week. Over 50% of you watching this video or listening to this video right now are not subscribed to this video,
which is free.
It is
just
free.
Like those
we don't change. Yeah, we don't charge you money to subscribe. It's great if you do. It does things algorithmic things. I don't know.
Plus, you get notified when we do more weird, crazy stuff.
Exactly, like. Go to Animal Kingdom and see and have bucket hats and stare at gorillas, and you're gonna get all of that content just right in your inbox. You know you want it. So
I think we just lost some subscribers.
Yeah, I
guarantee I am subscribed and I don't get the notifications. So you can also turn those off or not turn. Just don't turn them off.
Don't tell them to turn them off.
Don't tell people that.
I would rather they subscribe.
No, you want the notifications.
Mute her. Mute her right now.
Anyhow, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the DVC show. Thank you guys for conversing and having fun as always. And thank you, the viewers out there, for showing us the love. And we will see you next Monday.